You are looking live at our split studios. This is Fantasy Baseball Now, episode 89 here for our show, part of the ball9.com podcast network. Welcome back this evening after an unscheduled week away. Thank you to our platform. I don't know if we'll name them, but away from our microphones. But this week, we are going to take a brief look at the labor negotiations between MLB and MLBPA and the impact on your fantasy baseball organizations. We'll discuss that along with our weekly segments of who's hot, not, go get them, cut them, sneak peek at week 13 with the lineups with favorable schedules for hitters and two-star pitchers that might be under the radar. And in a little while, all you dipshits that are arguing with me on Twitter today, you didn't sell out in Vegas, assholes. It's the first game of this project you got going. 30 years of guaranteed sellouts. I'm already wound up. We're going to save that for later, but they embarrassed themselves last night. You can't even sell out a 10,000 stadium. Okay, the seats might have been full. I read 1,500 SRO. You didn't do it. And I don't want to hear it was a Monday, because when they promised 30 years of straight sellouts, they didn't say, well, if it's 80 and it's got to be a Friday. It's every game, they said, every game for 30 years. Assholes. Anyway, I digress. Let's save that for later. I didn't even have to have a cup of coffee before the show.
It seems like you just went. This is the George Costanza episode where we are doing the opposite of what we talked about yet 30 seconds ago. But before we get into that,
yes, sorry,
and the embarrassment that is that they're even playing in a minor league ballpark to begin with.
Another one.
As Sean said, it is episode 89. Follow us on all the socials, especially at ball9.com and on our YouTube channel, where you can rewatch this brilliance that we're going to spew. And a little twist tonight, since we were prepared for last week's show, and through unforeseen greed and capitalism, we were bumped for a week. I will mention as we go into each of the segments who we would have had for last week, and very timely for pitchers for this week, so that we're already off to a start with those guys. But yeah, it's I was fired up for last week because like 12 hours after we did the previous week's show, the MLBPA's list of demands for the new contract came up.
Yep.
And wow, how about that?
What do we got?
You're going to have to run it.
Okay.
I can upload it, but I can't see it.
Got it. I'm on it.
The initial reaction as everybody was completely losing their minds, and then MLB, of course, responded first with a comment and then with a counter proposal, is I think that the thing that everybody needs to take a deep breath about is every negotiation has to start with the first offer. This is going to be a long process. And the reason we're doing it is it does have, aside from the fact that I've created a list of 20 new hobbies for next baseball season, crochet's on there, believe it or not. Crochet and croquet are both on there.
Get you a nice cardigan sweater.
I'm going to make myself a cardigan sweater.
There you go.
A New York Knicks blue and orange. Thank you very much. But it does have a fantasy impact that is, as this goes along, especially if you're in dynasty leagues, like, you got to keep it in the back of your mind. Like, you absolutely have to keep it in the back of your mind. And in some regards, we're at the point in the season in June where a lot of teams in leagues, their fate's already sealed, especially in roto, not so much in head-to-head, because you can always go on a run and make up a lot of ground if you can get a run going. But in rotos, in a lot of cases, your fate's already sealed. And if you're planning for 2028 and one of your dynasty players is 31 years old now, and you can spin him to somebody that might be able to win the league, that'll help them win the league this year, and you could pick up two 25-year-old dynasty players doing it, you may want to think about it.
Yeah, I just made a trade a couple weeks ago and brought in Chris Sale. I had someone say, "Well, do you think you'll keep him next year?" And I said, well, "I don't think there's going to be a next year, so I'm not even thinking about that. I'm trying to win now." But we had an owner put and is on the block offering a 3rd round pick for hitting. And I talked to him, and hopefully he jumps in here, BU, soon. I said, I'm curious to see what reaction you get, because our team's going to be willing to trade draft picks next year, not knowing if there's a draft. Now, his reply was, well, they can't possibly screw it up. Baseball's having a great run, great young players, a lot of positivity. My answer was, yes, they can. I don't trust any of them. I think they are that stupid. And what bothers me is, one, I'm refreshed to hear that they're negotiating, but they both immediately started negotiating through the press, and that's never a good thing. It's never a good thing.
But in this case, this is how you know it's going to be an ugly negotiation, and I do think it's going to. Maybe I'm just optimistic, right? Maybe I'm just optimistic, or maybe I'm more just hopeful that at 63 years old, I don't want to miss another season of baseball.
Correct.
The damage, they're not going to let steroids back in the game to save the game in 2028 like they did after the Expos got fucked out of winning the World Series, because they were clearly the best team in baseball that year. The revenues are so, all of these, everything in here is tied to the revenues. Now, do I think the players are nuts in some regards? And I mean, I'll start with point one, like significant increases to the 40-man rosters, including a major league minimum salary of $1.5 million. Fuck you. Like, I'm just saying that for every fucking person on earth that doesn't play a professional sport, that has to pay to go watch you play.
Stop. I got to say something that's never been said before. The owners are winning the early PR battle. That's never happened.
Here's the I mean, they do want a floor. I don't like the there's stuff in here that are throwaways to me. There's stuff in here that are throwaways. And I think the minimum $1.5 million salary is a throwaway. Like, okay, we'll bump it to 800,000 from 750 or whatever. They're not going to expand arbitration eligibility. That's not going to happen. They already got that once. They're not going to get it again. I just think that what they really want is they want the teams. They wouldn't need anything that they're asking for if there was a floor. That's the competitive integrity tax, right? You don't reach the minimum payroll, you got to pay. Just like if you go over, you got to pay. Everything they want as far as salaries growing will happen if there's a minimum spend that the owners have to live by. But you can't get one without the other. And the thing that makes me insane, and this is where I believe you're right, that the owners have won the early sentiment from the fans, because they held the Dodgers up as the devil. They're holding the Dodgers up as the devil, which I'm sure is making the Dodgers feel great. As to what's wrong with baseball. But then at the time they were doing that, the Guardians were in first place. The A's were in first place. The Rays were in first place. And the Brewers were in first place. All teams with a payroll under $140 million. So you can't, this is where the owners lose credibility, because they think they're smarter than everybody else, and they don't think people can read. And they surface level everything. Now, I'm sure, and I do, as much as I think Manfred's a total dipshit, I do believe that he, in his heart, is going to try to do everything in his power to not have there be a labor stoppage. I do believe that. They're backed into a corner from split the TV revenue money part of their offer because they lost that huge cable deal.
Yes.
But
yeah, the regional sports network are going under.
Are the Yankees going to want to give up the revenue they get from Yes? Are the Dodgers going to give up the revenue they get from their own deal? Are the Red Sox like those teams aren't going to want to give up their deal? And what's actual revenue? Because
but here's the thing on that. They can have eight teams not want to give up their revenue and still it gets pushed through. 24 say yes, it's in.
Yeah. And it could be and there's what 8 teams that are being whose TV deals are now under the umbrella of Major League Baseball. So that's an easy 8 votes. That's easy.
And then you got your grifters, John Fisher specifically, with his hand out and a cup in his hand.
But this is what I don't. This is where the owners lose me. The salary floor is going to be $170 million. And this is where I couldn't agree more with people that were fans of teams that would have to get to that 170. If they can do it next year, why can't they do it now? So all these teams that cry poverty and have low payrolls, all of a sudden they're going to get to $170 million. So I don't know. I mean, they make a lot of money. They make too much money. They make way too much money. They do have a specialized skill. I don't hold it against anybody to make the most money they can ever make in their life doing anything that they do, as long as it's legal. And in some cases, I don't really care how you make money, frankly, as long as nobody gets hurt. So they do have a specialized skill, but at the end of the day, like $1.5 million to watch Edmundo Sosa play baseball, and I love Edmundo Sosa, but like that's not a minimum set. Like that, you got to be kidding me. Like you got to be kidding me. I just don't understand. I mean, I do think they're throwing some stuff away, and I do think the owners are throwing some stuff away that are like easy cross-offs. That's not happening. That's not happening. That's not happening. We can get middle ground on this real quick, and there's probably 5 things on both sides that they can get middle ground and an agreement on in a 2-hour meeting. The big thing is going to be the cap and how high the cap is.
That is going to be it. The other thing,
they're going to do it like the NBA, where if you can go over, but do the 3-tier threshold. So if the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Cubs, any of those, if they want to go over, then knock yourself out and go over. Then go over. Or if I re-sign my own free agent, does that not count against the cap? So there's the what's revenue, because a lot of teams own other stuff, right? Other stuff. And like the Braves own that whole complex where they play. And it's all separate organizations, but it's still revenue to the Braves itself. I don't know. It's gonna be a while. I think it's gonna be. I think the All-Star break is gonna really. It's gonna be this is gonna dominate the All-Star break. There's no question about it, because counter proposals will probably come in the next, probably close to the end of the month.
Sure.
So going into the
where the owners are smart, though, I got to give them credit. They're looking at the fans. What are the fans' complaints? You hear about the blackouts. They're going to get rid of the blackouts.
Jesus.
And they proposed a 50-50 revenue split with the players, which is a lot. That mirrors the NBA a little bit. That is hard for the players to turn that down.
Except what's revenue?
Okay.
That's the sticking point in the split of the revenue. If you're telling me, if I'm the players and you're telling me that every single dollar of revenue, the $5 billion that the Yankee or whatever it was that the Yankees got from Amazon as partnership in that TV deal, if that's revenue, then okay, now I get it. If you're telling me that the 8 restaurants that the whatever corporation, the Ted Turner Corporation owns outside of the Brave Stadium is part of the revenue, now I'm listening. If you're telling me it's ballpark generated revenue and merchandise, then it's another way again that the owners aren't just taking, like you're going to cry poverty. Open your fucking books like men.
Never
and show us, because if you want us, the fans, to be on your side, and the rumor is that the Mets lost $300 million or whatever, $200 million or whatever they lost.
No way.
To me, it's bullshit. They didn't lose $200 million because if they did, they wouldn't have signed Soto. They wouldn't have signed Bichette. They wouldn't have done it. They wouldn't have traded for Peralta. They wouldn't have done any of that stuff. So we are not going to talk about this anymore. Maybe we'll mention it and it'll be part of a rant as the chaos continues. And as we get to the end of the season, if it looks hopeless, then I'm sure we will talk about it. But it's probably better saved for the off season after the World Series when it really gets dire.
We'll talk about it when we change the name of the show to Fantasy Football Now.
Yeah, when we change the name, when we change the name of the show to Crocheting with Mike and Sean. It'll be like what's his name? Bob, the artist. I can't think of his name.
I know who you're talking about.
But this does bring decision processes to us as fantasy owners. It does bring a decision process. I'll give you a perfect example for me. And I know you and I were talking about Colson Montgomery and a number of different trades. And I've been having a little issue at third base, and he's 4 games away from qualifying for third base in our league. And a lot of other formats, he's already qualified. He's at 16 games played at third.
Yep.
He's also 24.
Yes.
And if he becomes third base eligible and hits 32 home runs this year, he's like a guaranteed dynasty save guy. He's a guaranteed save guy in a 5-team league, in a 5-keeper league.
He's raised his
average. On the other hand, Zach Wheeler's
that average in the last couple of weeks too.
Like Sale, Cole, Wheeler, guys that are in their 30-ish and moving up the 30s, that are like no doubt about it, guys that you would save under normal circumstances. I'll give them one more year. Maybe I'll trade them next year if I need to, because I probably wouldn't save them the following year. You got to make 28 decisions about your team from a dynasty standpoint that you don't. I mean, sometimes when we trade for guys and we know we're going to have them in 2028 because it's Jackson Chourio, for example. Like, I'm not going to, unless he blows his knee out and he can't play for half the season next year, then he's getting saved. James Wood, because he's getting saved because he's 22 or 23 years old. We're saving that guy. You know, like the guys that we talked about 3 weeks ago on the show, those guys are getting saved. I got Louis DeVry on my roster as a minor league player. By 2028, he's my shortstop.
I should have included him in the trade offer you made me last night, but I wouldn't have traded him. I wanted to start my day off right.
But and I would have traded him for the exact reason that we're talking about right now. Under a lot of circumstances, I'd be like, you know what? I'm still, I don't know how, I'm still in first place. And so every trade I'm making, I'm like, I don't really care about next year. And I really don't. But now I got to start caring a little bit about 2 years from now, because if I gut my team, if I gut my young dynasty keeper players to win, and it doesn't mean I'm not going to do it, I still got to think twice before I do it. Where if I'm in Roto, if I'm 55 points out and I look at my roster, I'm like, I can't even make a run to get into the money. And I've got a premium player, an Ohtani, for example. What could I get for Ohtani today? They're 2030 players for me. They're 5-year players for me. What can I get? And like the sell high is going to be real interesting as the season gets close. As we get closer to the trade deadline and this labor thing becomes what it becomes, it's going to get really interesting. Really interesting. Trades and dynasty leagues are going to get really interesting. I
agree with that 100%. And yeah, he is look, big man. He's in first place for now. I'm coming.
You guys are in a battle for fourth, fifth, and sixth right now. I mean,
I'm in third. All right. Enjoy your 15 minutes. It's been a few weeks though. I got to give you credit.
It's been a while. It's been a while, and I am still every day trying to figure out how not to fuck up my team, and it's hard. It's hard. I got to save myself from myself. Oh, I'm confident. I'm gonna do something I'm gonna regret.
Well, I'm coming. I got Nate Eovaldi to get through the first 2 innings tonight, and that's something he has had a lot of trouble doing. So go get him.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to go? Who's hot?
We are. So last week, had there been a show, you had Spencer Arrighetti and I had Michael A. Harris, and they're both still hot.
My guy, Ernie Clement. He got, ESPN projected all-star rosters, and they had Ernie Clement starting and being the best second baseman in the American League this year. His last 21, he's hitting 360, 14 runs, 4 homers, 13 RBIs, and a steal. And he's close to multi-position eligibility at third and shortstop, too, depending on what your league looks for. Jack of all trades guy. He's playing great for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, he is. And Young-Hoo Lee, who was literally banished last year, whatever he did to his swing, I mean, he's hitting 323 on the season, and he's still only 63% owned.
Yeah.
But in the last 2 weeks, he's hit 561. And 5 RBIs is not shocking because they don't score a lot of runs, but he has scored 10 runs during that 14-game period and a couple of stolen bases. And there are rostered outfielders, and Dalton Varsho, I'm talking to you, you prick, that are not as good as Young-Hoo Lee. They're just not as good. I mean, and if you use OPS instead of batting average, he's not as valuable. But if you use batting average, 323 is 323. That's pretty significant.
Wrong podcast, Bob. Go Canes.
Go Canes.
All right. Who's not? Now, my who's not is timely.
Well, last week you had Jock Cangiglianone, and I had Chandler Simpson. And I would have loved to have had that conversation. But this week, these two guys, holy smokes.
Yeah, Gallen, I've dumped on him a few times on this show. I just don't get it. I don't know why he's owned in 61% of leagues, started in 42. He's on the hill right now. 5 innings, 8 hits, 3 runs, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. That's about right. He sucks. His last 21 games, he's ranked CBS 526th, 21 innings, 5.91 ERA, 1.55 WHIP, and just 14 strikeouts. His strikeout rate doesn't warrant playing him because his other peripheral numbers are terrible.
Yeah.
If a guy really sucks on the mound, but he's striking out a ton of guys, okay, he's going to help you at least in strikeouts, and that's a premium category. But he's not helping you anywhere.
And then my guy, I was way in on Austin Riley. So
was I.
And he does have 8 homers and 34 RBIs and 31 runs scored, but he's hitting 208. And in the last 14, he's 132 with 3 RBIs and 4 runs. And he's 98% owned. He should be. He's 79% started. He and Manny Machado, you got to find another option for a little while until they figure it out.
Yeah.
They probably both will. I actually have more confidence that Machado will figure it out than Riley because this is going on 2.5 years with him. And I thought he'd be back from the injury, and he's lost. I mean, look at the look on his face in this picture. He's looking for a swing. He can't find his swing. It's incredible. It's what's more incredible is he's somewhat struggling offensively, and they're still the best team in baseball.
Yeah, when in our draft disclosure, we keep 5, then we start what's essentially round 6. I was aching to get him at the end of that round, and he was the second pick of the open draft. I was pissed. I was pissed. I really thought he was going to get back to being himself, and he's not. Yeah, what happened to this guy? Did injury zap some energy from him?
I don't
I don't
know.
know.
I don't know. I don't know. Whoever Michael Harris talked to about hitting, he needs to talk to the guy. Oh, I know who that was. That was Freddie Freeman, believe it or not. No, it's Chipper.
Chipper.
Chipper worked with Michael Harris, and now Michael Harris is probably going to be an all-star. Chipper needs to work with Austin Riley, and Austin Riley needs to listen. So I don't know if that's a thing with him or not, but he better start listening to somebody to fix that swing because it's a mess right now.
Yeah. All right. Go get him.
Go get him. Last week, you had Curtis Mead, and I had Sean Burke. Mixed. Curtis Mead's still hitting. Leo the late bloomer, still hitting, man. Sean Burke, like every White Sox pitcher, mixed results, but still serviceable as a starter this week. Well, it's an ace theme this week.
Yeah, Gade's jump is his first start wasn't very good. I held on to him. He's on my team. Owned in 55% of the league, started in 31. He's only 23. His last two outings, I want to see the strikeouts come up a little bit, but 13 and a third, 6 hits, just 1 earned run and 4 walks. ERA or whip well under 1. Great ERA. Again, let's get that strikeout rate up there a little bit. I don't care what happens to him this week playing in that goddamn pinball arena where he's going to pitch. But yeah, Gage Jump is a good young pitcher. He's been on the radar for the A's for all year since last season, and now he's up and he's warranting a roster spot for sure. I'd look to maybe start him next week, though.
And for me, it's Bryce Eldridge, and I had to check myself. I had to check myself emotionally before I did this to make sure I didn't have a thing for Bryce Eldridge. After I saw him from 10 feet away during spring training, he's a large human. He's only 57% owned still, and 29% started. And I don't know if you start him, but he's hitting. In the last 2 weeks, he's 390 with a home with 4 runs, 4 RBIs, 11 runs, and a homer. And the power hasn't come yet. But the thing they worried about with him was, would he make contact at the big league level and would he strike out a lot? Unfortunately, he's DH eligible. He's not played he's played spot at first base at best. So he's DH eligible. So it is a little limiting, DH or utility player as to where you can play him. But I think the power will come with him as he continues to gain confidence, and he's definitely worth a stash roster spot. And in some cases, he's worth a play roster spot.
I got to admit, I killed him in the offseason when we were talking about our prospects.
Oh, he was terrible.
I thought he had that giant hole in his swing, and he's made me rethink that.
Well, he hit like $120 last year when he got called up before he got hurt. He did have a giant hole in his swing. So I'm not sure who I don't know what he did. He fixed his swing he made enough of an adjustment that he's making hard contact on a lot of it.
Yeah. All right. Now the cut guys.
Now, the last week was Lucas Ursig for you and Mark Vientos for me. And I don't know about you, but I still stand by that one.
Sure.
These two knuckleheads. Holy smokes.
What has happened to Dansby Swanson? Former number 1 overall. I thought he was going to do great for the Cubs when he left Atlanta.
Yeah, the only reason it doesn't look like he's doing so bad is because Alex Bregman sucks more.
He's owned in 71% of leagues, still started in 39. His last 21 games, he's hitting 148, which is actually not that far below his season average of 180. That tells you how bad he is. And he's not even playing that much anymore. He sat over the weekend. And
he was a little hurt, I think, over the weekend. I watched some of the Sunday night game.
Yeah, you can pull a muscle real easy swinging or missing like that.
Yeah, exactly. And Steven Matz, he is down to 24% rostered once he got demoted. He's still 8% started, which blows my mind. I mean, he's got a 5.55 ERA and a 1.34 WHIP. And I posted last week, if you're a major league owner and you employ Steven Matz, Mike Lorenzen, I'm trying to remember why I got what Patrick Corbin. There was I had 6 guys that if you employ these guys as major league owners, you're just not serious. Chris Paddock, who's found another place to be a starting pitcher. If you got nobody in your system, you can't go to a friggin' independent league game and find a pitcher that can be certainly if I want to be this bad.
There just has to be. And that's the tweet you put out. And I said, add Ryan Nelson to that, who continues to be in our league. He's been 8 of 12 teams this year.
But then he'll throw a 6-inning, 3 hits, 1 run, a walk, and 6 strikeout outing. And then he's on the chart for most added for the week.
I want him owned in our league. I want him started in our league.
Yeah, I don't. I want him started in the other 11 teams. I don't want him started.
I want him started by anybody that might the 1 or 2 teams that are ahead of me.
Yes.
So I can possibly move up in the standings because he sucks.
Yep.
All right.
Now we look ahead. Last week, our look ahead, you had JT Ginn. No, you had Grant Holmes, excuse me, who had a pretty good start last week. And I had Grayson Rodriguez for this week, who was okay last night. But after I decided that's who it was going to be, he got completely friggin' lit up like a Christmas tree. And I wished that I had not picked him. And then you have for this week, your hitter lineup is Colorado and mine is Seattle. So now we go to next week where you have the Diamondbacks, who I do like that schedule, and they are starting to hit.
Yeah.
And I have the Phillies because Miami can't pitch all of a sudden, except for Max Meyer, and the Mets just suck. Freddie Peralta's getting torched tonight. And they're here.
Yeah.
And the city's going to be electric because World Cup matches start here on Friday or Saturday. I can't remember which one.
My boys asked me when that started. I didn't know the answer to that.
And match 1 is Friday.
Okay.
And then next week they have a weird because there's a World Cup match on Friday of next week. They play Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday against Miami, Thursday against the Mets. They're off on Friday, and then they play Saturday, Sunday. They're not going to subject the fine people from around the world, from the Ivory Coast and places like that are going to be here. They're not going to subject them to a Phillies crowd because they're trying to put their best foot forward and make Philadelphia look like a city that people are happy. The Phillies fans are happy right now. They're rolling.
Yeah. Now, what about Detmers? He was lights out the other day.
He's 4.26 ERA on a season and a 1.14 WHIP, and he's 88 Ks in 74 innings pitched. And I just traded for him. And I'll tell you, a testament to what people, including me, feel about him. He's 72% owned in CBS, but he's only 43% started.
Yeah.
Because he's had some starts where he's been really, really good. Really dominant. Wipeout great. And he's got 2 starts that are just awful. I mean, awful. And I think I mentioned him. He had a bad start, maybe it was a little over a month ago. And I was wondering if they would just put him in a closer role and leave him there. But, I mean, they're the Angels, and he's their best starter. Well, right now he probably is their best starter. Soriano's dipped for sure. And Ginn, I don't get. Here's what I don't get with JT Ginn. Everybody in our world's been talking about JT Ginn for a month, and he's been pretty damn good.
Yeah, he has.
He's been pretty.
In the years,
pretty damn good. He's in and out of rosters like nobody I've ever seen.
Here's why. and he's on my roster right now. When you go to click the button to activate him, there's a little trepidation. Okay, there's a lot of trepidation. I'm like, am I really going to do this? Am I really going to trust him? But then you take a step back. On the year, 65 and 2/3, 60 strikeouts, and just about one an inning, ERA 2.74, and a whip of 1.08. Numbers don't lie.
He's going to give you 6. Probably not going to give you. I mean, he almost threw a no-hitter.
Threw a no-hitter.
I mean, so that should have got everybody's attention, right? I mean, I get it. It was broken up, but he threw 8 2/3 a no-hit ball until you give up and then he give up a homer.
Yeah.
I mean, and lost in a scoreless game. So that's a beautiful baseball game. And you would have thought that would have gotten him a lot more attention, and it still didn't. And so part of the question, like my trepidation with him or anybody else that pitches on that pitching staff is they got to pitch in Sacramento.
That's a big part of it. It's a shit ballpark. It's a AAA ballpark. Where they're playing this week is even worse. It's an absolute joke. But that is part of it. You know, guys, the mound is never good. You know, Luis Severino's got a big hang up about it, and he's hurt now. But the mound always sucks. Who was Pablo Lopez got hurt last year with the Twins. You know, teams didn't want their pitchers even going out there on that mound. So yeah, that is a big problem for having A's pitchers. But you get them on the road. The A's have a winning road record this year. Now, Ginn's got 2 starts at home next week. But I like the matchups. Anytime you can take on the Angels because they're terrible. And Pittsburgh, yeah, I'll take my chances with that.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with O'Neal Cruz. He hasn't played in 2 days, and I didn't look because I don't want to. I'm afraid something not good's going on with him. And like I don't like Detmer's pitching in Sacramento either, but the A's strike out a lot.
Yeah.
They strike out. Even when they score runs, they strike out a lot. They strike out a lot. I mean, so there is that. He's a good bump for strikeouts. I mean, they scored 14 runs last night. They struck out 20 times.
Did they really?
They did. They struck out 20 times.
I got too hung up on the crowd of 85-19 when capacity is officially, if you Google it, says 10,000. Underwhelming for the first game of the project to shove 6 games in there this year. And the other part about that is, let's just transition back to that. A lot of let's go Brewers chants early in that. Where's the locals? Where's the locals clamoring for the A? If you gave an expansion team to that city, they'd do great. They don't want somebody else's leftovers.
They saved their money for the NHL game tonight.
Well, that'll be the excuse tomorrow when I rip the attendance, and that'll actually might be a little valid, but yeah.
It could be, but I mean, you got your phone. You can watch the game on your phone.
You can't support 2 teams? What kind of big league city are you?
Exactly.
You can't do 2?
The reason they think they're gonna be successful is for the same reason that the Raiders have a full stadium, and NHL or NFL and Major League Baseball is not the same by any stretch of the imagination.
Very different things.
But to travel to Las Vegas, I mean, unless you've looked at airfare in the last 2 weeks, to travel to Las Vegas is an easy flight from everywhere. So to go see your team, why not? Right? Why not? Like, those are cities. Like my comment of how many Twins fans were in Washington. Well, if you're going to go see your team, there are a lot of Guardians fans here last week when the Guardians were in. If you're going to go see your team and there's a lot to do in the city, that's why not? Right? Like, I get to go to a game and then I can walk around DC and see stuff I've never seen before. I can walk around Philly and see stuff I go to New York and see, like, you're going to go play. You're not going to go to Kansas City. No disrespect to Kansas City at all, but that's not Though it's probably less expensive to make that trip.
The projections that they sold the people in Vegas on 30% out of town. That's 10,000 a game. Is that going to happen on a Tuesday when Tampa's in? No.
Well, I will tell you, back to our opening segment, they strike or lock out, and there's not a season next year, they can throw every one of those projections right out the window.
Yeah.
Everything they did, everything that it's going to undo everything they've done, because attendance continues to rise.
Well,
now, Sacramento feels that they deserve an expansion team because they've shown so well. They've shown so well with the A's being there. They believe they deserve an expansion team.
That's a 14,000 seat stadium. They still can't sell that out either.
They can't sell.
They can't. It's a cow town. Sorry, it is. It's not a big league city.
No, it's a good basketball
city. They can
city.
wallow with the Kings and their 28 wins a year and have fun, but that's it.
It's a good basketball city.
Yeah, they support them.
They do draw. They do get support. They have a beautiful arena. I don't think it's a baseball. I don't think it's a baseball city, and I don't think California needs another team unless you're gonna give Oakland an expansion team. I'm against anything to do with another team in California unless there's one going back to Oakland.
If they had any brains, put the A's back in Oakland, give an expansion team to Vegas. Everyone's happy.
Yeah, and then let the second expansion team go back to Montreal, and we're all back to where we should have been in the first place.
Yep.
And then talk about moving the Marlins to Nashville.
There you go.
That's the right conversation, but they're not going to do that.
All right. Now the unscheduled segment, the Knicks. Any worries from last night? I think they were too tight early.
I'm not.
I think they'll win tomorrow. Mike Brown played the officiating card very well after the game. They'll get calls.
Yeah.
Wemby will get the makeup call against him for trying to decapitate Brunson. I think the Knicks came out too tight last night.
They've been behind in every game. They've made it up. They went on a run. It's the first third quarter they've lost in the playoffs. They won every third quarter before last night.
Yep.
They didn't start making threes until they made the run going into the fourth. I'm not worried. They had open looks. They missed shots, and it happens. And Mikal Bridges didn't really contribute a lot last night because he was in foul trouble. First one was a little tacky. The second one was definitely a foul, but I'm really not. I mean, I'm really, and even if God forbid they lose on Wednesday, I'm still not worried. I'm still not worried. You knew the Spurs had a game in them. I mean, every time they lose them, when they've lost in the playoffs, they've come back and won by 20 the next night. I mean, they're a good basketball team. I'm not that worried. I'm really not that worried.
No,
I'll be a little worried if they don't win Wednesday, but
yeah, they'll be okay. They'll be okay.
So they win on Friday. My friend down here, who's a Knicks fan, immediate text, "Let's go, Game 3, $8,000." I'm like, no. He goes, "Let's go to the watch party." I go, that I'm interested in.
Yep.
That I'm interested in. Then they shut it down because the president's there. So that goes out the window. He goes, if they win tonight and they got a chance to sweep, we have to go to the watch party on Wednesday. I go, I'm 100% in for that.
Yeah.
I'll go and hang out in the city. When I only waited 53 years for this, I guess I might as well be up there if they win. And they lose, so that saved me some time. And I mean, the watch party, you got to get there at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's like going to watch the ball drop in Times Square.
Yeah, but are there urinals? Because they don't have those in Times Square. They don't have urinals. That would be a big problem for me.
They're storm grates.
No, it wouldn't be a problem for me. It'd be a problem for the people around me.
Yeah, I'd wear boots, galoshes. I'd wear galoshes. Yeah. A nice fine pair of galoshes.
I just don't care. All right. So next week,
as long as our as long as we're still copacetic with our platform provider, unless we make a change, which could be happening.
Could be happening. I think we have 3 more weeks in the books until we have to figure something out.
So we're almost to the All-Star break. We almost get a chance to go to the All-Star break. And next week we'll figure out what we're going to talk about. Something's going to happen.
Labor deals. We're, like as Mike said, we're done with that. We wanted to address it, get it out of the way.
Yeah. But plus we were fired up over it, so I'm still fired up over it. I'm not as fired up as you are about the A's playing in Vegas. Yeah,
what a bunch of horse shit that is.
And those nice people in Vegas, the 7,000 fans that are actually going to have season tickets out of the 32,000. Yeah. Sounds to me like they're 25,000 short.
Yeah, I guess I made it.
Let's make it on here because 10,000 people are going to come for every game from out of town. So
of course.
So now you're 17,000. The place is going to sit the seat like 32, 33.
32.
So now they got to find 16,000 homeless people
for 30 years
in a city. Years. You wouldn't know it from the Knights. You wouldn't know it from the Aces, the WNBA team. You wouldn't know it from either of those two teams.
Those are homegrown teams.
You'll never know it from football. It doesn't make any difference. They could play. There could be a team in Alaska, and they're going to sell out every week. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
So you got to take that off the board. But it definitely matters in baseball, and that city is on the whole is really trying to reinvent itself for what it wants to be. And Vegas is struggling. Vegas is definitely struggling. I mean, it's not a gambling city anymore because you don't need to travel to gamble anymore.
No, just hang out with Brendan Sorsby.
Holy moly. I wish you didn't bring that up.
We'll save that for another time. There's no college football left because they're blowing that sport up.
You got to be. When I saw today that the judges that gave the injunction all went to Texas Tech, I'm like, holy mackerel. You got to be like, what is this, 1938 Chicago? Like, what the hell is going on here?
Sorsby probably had money on the injunction, and
they probably
scratch his way.
And then they scheduled the appeal for February 9th, 2 days after the.
Yeah, there's nothing weird about that.
Nothing at all, and it just. And I do feel bad for the kid because he's not the only kid.
No.
That's in this new pandemic of gambling with young males, especially like 16 to 22, that are losing everything that everybody has because gambling is so accessible. But when NFL GMs are saying, I'm not sure that's a guy we'd take in a supplemental, we know he's talented.
No.
They're saying we already saw the Art Schlichter story. We're not going to see this again.
He's a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. He's not a winning NFL quarterback. I can tell you that. I've seen him play a few times. Good college quarterback.
He's a good college quarterback, but playing at Cincinnati and playing in. I mean, this would unfortunately, if none of this happened, we'd get a good idea of how good he really is based on him playing at Texas Tech.
Yeah,
but
no, I feel bad for he's got an addiction. That's fine. Get help. He can't play football anymore. Credibility is everything, and that's gone.
Yeah, and there's no explaining. There's no explaining. Like you can't explain your way around it.
No.
Yeah, I'm better. I don't know. You bet on your own team, dude.
Yeah, that's if I'm going to hold the line on Pete Rose never getting into Cooperstown, got to hold. Sorry, there has to be a penalty.
Yeah,
you can't play.
Yeah, I mean, there's consequences for actions,
and WWF,
and it can't like we've gotten to a point where the consequences never match the seriousness of what happened.
No,
I get like I'm not a nobody gets a second chance guy, not by any stretch of the imagination, and I'm not a disbeliever in people turning their lives around and learning from their mistakes. I'm not a disbeliever in that at all. But the mistake has consequences.
Sure.
I mean, get your degree, dude, because you may need it.
Yeah. I don't know if the two of us should be giving out academic advice, but here we are.
Yeah, it's fair. That's yeah. Yep.
For those that don't know us, we were in college and we kind of thought beer was food, but that's okay.
Yeah. We thought classes were optional.
They were, I think. Not sure the professors agreed with me on that, but anyhow.
You know what I never got straight? When it was a Tuesday, Thursday class that they expected you to go every Tuesday and Thursday. I just thought it was on a Tuesday or Thursday during the semester. I didn't realize that they wanted you to go every Tuesday and Thursday.
Yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot of expectations.
Yeah, I mean,
It is.
Like, what are you doing to people? Like, you can't, I'm paying for this. I should be able to come and go as I please.
I tell you, for me, 6.5 years of undergrad, not ever had an 8 o'clock class. In case my kids are
well done.
On that note,
peace.
We'll see you all next Tuesday evening.
Go New York, go New York, go.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, let's go Knicks.